Hey, welcome back to the channel. So last night I went live and, do it a couple of times a week. Usually I'll noodle about, sometimes jam to tracks and talk to people about music. Last night we had an interesting talk about just why music has been sucking lately. In fact, I'll go into it after I tell you the story. So a friend of mine popped on late and started bringing up a story that happened a couple of years ago. A buddy of mine who, and for those who know me, know I'm a big fan of like TV shows like Canon, the big burly guy with the mustache, smoking a pipe. He's got his Colt Detective special, driving around in a Lincoln Continental Mark IV. It's just pure comedy on every aspect. Anyways, a buddy of mine who, he put a little weight on, has a big mustache and beard, kind of looks like taking on the persona of Sebastian Cabot, was playing guitar one night, and I was like, I should go see him, so I did, and he was like, you got to check out my guitar. I just had it done. He had the oversized dots on the guitar, big fat neck, and I said, oh, I love this neck. It feels great. He's like, yeah, I have them custom made. Even the headstock's a little thicker. And I was like, well, why would you go and get the headstock made thicker? He's like, I prefer the gentleman's cut. Needless to say, I lost it. I think it's hysterical. The gentleman's cut. It's great. It can be used in anything. Isn't that pedal a little big? No, I prefer the gentleman's cut. Anyway, guitar I'm holding today. This is my Rebel Relic that I bought from a company called Rebel Relic out in Amsterdam. I had the neck changed because initially when I ordered it from him, the guy's a great builder. His name's Luke Whitfield. And when I initially ordered it from him, I ordered a V-neck. And, he's used to making a certain neck a certain way. And I have my preferences. And when I got it, it was a soft V, if you will. And then I was thinking, well, I'd love to get stainless frets put on this thing. And then I figured that would cost me like $300. And I went on Warmoth's site and found this neck for under that price. And everything done with it would cost me the same for a fret job. And then I ended up putting a Fender logo on it because, really it's a Fender design. And I'm not trying to pass this off as a Fender because Fender doesn't make a guitar this good. But you can see Fender Telecaster, and so it's like my own type of Frankenstein situation. A really nice guitar. Those who have seen me play it have heard it before, and all its glory. So anyways, getting back to music, I've spoken many times in the past about the great music you could think of, and someone actually reached out to me on my Facebook page for Dave's Guitar Channel, and if you're interested in becoming, if you're interested in corresponding with me, you can message me at Dave's Guitar Channel at Facebook. And so he messaged me and he was like, what about 79 and 82? And I'm like, yeah, I haven't gotten to them yet, but they're great years. All those years, 78, 77, 83, were all great years in music. There's so much music and so much difference in, I've spoke about 1980 before, but in 1980, some of my favorite albums from that year were Back in Black, Devo, Freedom of Choice, Van Halen, Women and Children First, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. I'll just name those four. Each one of those records melodically is very different. Sonically, it's very different. There's so much going on musically amongst those four records, and three of them which are in the heavier genre. Today, if you look at what's come out today, or even in heavier music in the past few years, it seems like the music, it's like they're playing basic pop chords. And the melodies are the same. They're all the same. And there's no edge to it. It all sounds like Nickelback to me. And I just think it's terrible. And I think, it's really why rap music has taken such a forefront in the music world is because, in the 80s, rap wasn't that good. You got the papa it's like all that. Everything sounded like Basketball by Curtis Blow. It wasn't good. And then, of course, there was some that got better. Like in the late 80s, you had Black Sheep and Tribe Called Quest. Moving into the 90s, I like the Guru stuff, but you had all kinds of stuff coming out. And over the years, it's like the people that got involved in it or that are in it are striving to do things and create. It's become a more creative thing. It's not so much people copying each other as much as everyone's trying to be their own thing. And rock music, it's the very opposite. And I don't want to say it's because rap music is younger, because rock music always had suffered from the copycat syndrome of the record companies. Of somebody comes out, I mean, you had the Beatles in the 60s, and then you had 15 other bands that sound like the Beatles, that wanted to be the Beatles, the Knickerbockers, the Beau Brummels. There's just a lot of copy type bands. And then there's some original sounding stuff as well. I just think that in rock music, they had more development of the artist, and the artist became something. And today, it's everybody wants the fast payoff. So if Nickelback or My Chemical Romance a couple of years ago has a song out that sounds like this, you should come out and have a sound like that. And everyone kind of copped that sound. And that's also what's gone on in country, which is what bro country is, which is why it sucks. I don't think one guy would be listening to bro country if there wasn't girls listening to it with their tank tops and Daisy Dukes. People would be like, what? This stuff's garbage. No, it's the best. It's unbelievable. I'm going to take my top off. Well, you know what? It is pretty good. That's basically what you're dealing with in bro country. It's just horrible. And I'm a huge country fan. I love like a lot of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I love 90s. Early 2000s, we start to see a little bit of what I don't like too much of. But still, the 2000s had some good music. There are some great artists out there still, and I do think like that Brad Paisley is a great player, and I do like his songs. But I'm talking about the bro country stuff. I just think it's horrendous. And I equate it to the same thing as like Five Finger Death Punch. To me, that's like bro metal. Because you've got them, Avenged Sevenfold, My Chemical Romance, and that whole type of genre, Three Day Grace, or whatever the hell that band's called. I teach a young girl and I hear all these names of bands. Every week she wants me to teach her a song, and I'm like, every week the next song is more vapid than the last. So I don't know. I don't know and I don't want people to say, oh, that guy's like Uncle Grandpa out there. All he does is he likes the old stuff and doesn't understand anything new. Because to that, I would just say, good morning. Good morning. I love Uncle Grandpa. I would just say, I don't know if I'm looking at it from that respect. I watched a great movie recently on Clive Davis, and here's a guy who's in his 80s, and he still understands what a good song is. And I understand what a good song is. And I can tell you, like, it's funny, they talked about Whitney's career. And her first album had some great songs. The second album, not so much. It became like a bubblegum act. And where they were trying to get the young girls to listen. And then the next album, they kind of tried to went urban again. Except I think they only got one hit out of it. And the rest of the record wasn't that great anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss. I just think that something has to change. I'm not seeing anything on YouTube where I'm seeing people or bands or young bands coming out and playing something where I'm like, these kids get it. There's a song here. There's a thing here. Every band I hear, I can hear that it's like they're being produced to sound a certain way. And I just know it's going to snap back at some point. The question is just when. The good news of it all is that we haven't listened to everything that had come out in the past. So I like to go out and people tell me stuff that I may have missed, that I may have thought was great. And that's why I do in the listening room. I'm hoping that somebody says something, that I go and listen to something and I'm like, oh, why the hell did I miss this? Which is going to be tough because I do know a lot of music. But I want that. I want to find that artist. And it's easier for me in country. In fact, I was watching Better Call Saul, and they played a Billy Walker song and an Earl Scruggs song. And I was like, these are great songs. Walk Across Texas was one of the songs. Just great songs. And so I went and I bought those albums, and I've been listening to some of that old country. I love it. I love the old Western swing. And I loved getting turned on to, there's a lot of country artists that I hadn't heard in the past. And that might be the case for you too. You know, like a lot of guitar players don't know who Steve Wariner is. And if you're looking to hear his guitar playing, I would say check out the album No More Mr. Nice Guy. But if you really want to hear what great songs he had and what turned me onto him, there was an album called It's a Crazy Life from 1987. Now, you might find it to be a little popish, and maybe it is, but it was still a great record. And he's a great player. There's just a lot of great music out there from our past. And so when I do these yearly things, hopefully you go back and go, I don't remember that song by Crocus, and find out that Winning Man in 1981 was a great song for the most part. Or you'll find out that, there was an album that you may have missed. That's really what I'm looking for. I love listening to Sirius Radio, whether it be yacht rock or 70s on 7 or some of the heavier stuff, and see if a band comes on that I may have missed. Because I don't really have any confidence in anything new. I also think, this will be my last thought on this today, I also think that the production today has got way downhill. Everybody's all about slamming everything. There's no breathing room. There's no headroom. I just don't like it. And I understand why they do it, with the format of 24-bit. And, they want to slam it so they don't lose any sound. And it's become the sound. It's just terrible. It's not good. You can listen to Iron Maiden's Peace of Mind album, and it's still relevant as a heavy metal record. You can listen to Aldo Nova's first album, but you don't want to. No, I'm kidding. No, I like Aldo Nova. I heard a song that was on the first album recently, and I was like, God, his voice was really weak. Anyway, I've spoke too much, and I'm going to get out of here and go cook myself a steak, and I will have the gentleman's cut. Very good.